Welcome to Social Town. In this video, we're going to learn about 10 ways to not take things personally. The life of a person who can resent everything relevant or irrelevant turns into a nightmare. You can take it personally, particularly in sensitive times, and you feel like you can't get out of this problem. This tendency can badly affect both your psychology and your social life. If people say the bad stuff to your face or behind your back, it would destroy your sense of self-worth. Sometimes nobody needs to say anything to make you feel this way and lose your self-esteem, because you might be in a mood that is very sensitive to misunderstandings of people's expressions and gestures. Although you hear words such as, "do not take it personally," during conversations, you cannot really keep them always on your mind. When it's a situation that you address emotionally, it's almost unlikely not to be touchy. Regardless of the matter, it should not prevent you from controlling your emotions. Please subscribe to our channel for more inspirational videos. Now let's examine 10 ways not to take things personally and open a whole new page for your self-improvement. Number 1, be aware of yourself. Personal values are among the markers of your personality that you should be conscious of. You won't care about the judgments of others about you if you know what kind of person you are and your role in your life. The key here is that you first have to understand yourself rather than understanding the judgments of others on you. Grab a pen and write down 5 things about yourself that you like. Whenever you feel too offended or sensitive, remind yourself of the items on the list. For example, let's assume that one of these favorable features is you are not a vengeful person. For a moment, whenever you feel vulnerable, look at your note, remember this, and stand against a potential feeling of resentment. After that, the other 4 items you have written on this list also will be helpful too. Number 2, be yourself. A person who always tries to be someone else cannot improve himself. You have to accept yourself as you are. The way that goes to being unique actually goes through being yourself. It's an obvious fact that people who act in a unique role in society have a lot of difficulties finding their personality. Doing what could be best for you, bring out your uniqueness. While doing this, prioritize your wishes and desires. Do not let others manipulate you and shape your personality. In this way, you notice the real good. You can benefit more than you can think from behaving like yourself. Number 3, draw your limits. So far, all the guiding features have been about seeking to get to know yourself. In fact, this topic is directly related to controlling your own emotions. Determining your relationship boundaries helps to reduce the risk of taking everything personally. If you're in an emotional relationship that you are not that much into, you should say no. You're not supposed to engage in things that may be emotionally destructive. Emotional boundaries should always be for you. People who do not know their limits try to please others, not themselves, and are usually not aware of this. Someone who knows his or her limits always heads towards goals. Number 4, try not to intervene with the flow of events. You should use the phrase, "let it go," to get stronger and reinforce your self-esteem. Every person has moments in her life when she hurts oneself. What matters here is that you should try to understand who you are by using your empathy skills over what you will experience in the future by analyzing these moments. Whatever happens, you will become whole eventually. Your experiences, feelings, and pains will help you while you're getting close to this state of feeling whole. Of course, it will work for you if you know how to use it. Most overly touchy individuals cannot empathize. The reason for this can be drowning in past events more than necessary and missing what happens now. Number 5, your actions should make sense. When you're in pain, do not lose your sense of logic. Looking from a logical perspective on events will distract you from what you've been drowning in. An example of a logical standpoint would be to consider what caused this situation when you were hurt, rather than assuming that it was unreasonably done to you. Did this other person hurt you, or are you exaggerating? If someone's actions are hurting you, you shouldn't let it. By asking what he needs, you analyze the problem. In this way, you will not get offended by what the other person says, and with your attitude to challenges, you will become a loved one around you. Number 6, kindness cannot solve every problem. Of course, being nice is a good thing. Staying on this track is one of the most important stages of adulthood. However, the kindness you show towards everyone leads to the desire to receiving the same kindness just as you do. Assuming that people treat you with the same kindness, even if you keep your kindness unchanged, will cause disappointment. You should behave kindly because you want to so, not because of receiving approval from others. Only in this way, you can treat yourself and others better. Kindness is not enough to have approval from people. Number 7. Making mistakes is not the end of life. Keep this in mind. First, you're not the only one who made a mistake in the world. You should realize that mistakes are one of the most important building blocks on the road that will lead you to the person you really want to be. You should know that you did something forgivable after the error was made, rather than exaggerating the guilt. You are accountable for your decisions, but you also do not blame yourself for the acts you do not approve of. Acknowledge that you are not perfect and learn from your mistakes, and then move on. Remember, no one is bestowed on a flawless life. Number 8. Don't be afraid to say what you think. Whatever you do, some words can be offensive to you. In such cases, you shouldn't pretend that nothing happened. When something is upsetting you, you have to react to it. The level of feeling too touchy will correlate with the personal relationship you have with that person. So you are much more likely to be offended by someone you love. Talk about the situation when they take action for that. Being touchy and hiding from everyone else will not solve a problem. On the contrary, it will intensify the problem. The other person may try to upset you just to spite you. In such instances, being clear will allow you to solve the issue. The core aspect of disagreements is not to be able to communicate. You have to get to know others and try to understand their personality and the need for knowing yourself. Also, openly ask what others want to say. Don't get into a hard process like guessing what is on their mind. Trying to guess what they're going to say is likely to get you confused. This makes it difficult to maintain your emotions and mental control. Number 9. Reconsider your expectations. The most effective way to not get offended caused by disappointments is by changing expectations. If you think that your sensitivity level is dominating your life, you need to get rid of situations that upset you. For instance, if someone doesn't greet you or speak to you, don't expect them to talk to you in the next few days, because it won't happen. Since you will not greet him or her, there will be nothing to be resentful about. The higher the expectations, the higher the disappointment. Minimizing or eliminating expectations is a much better solution. Number 10. Get professional support. If your state of oversensitiveness is making your life difficult, it's time to seek professional support. Get professional support as soon as possible. You cannot try to solve everything in life alone. The professional support will enable you to be analyzed from the outside with an objective view. This process will help you eliminate much of the question marks on your mind. If you cannot have professional support or do not want to receive support, you can also get support from someone you find close to you and whose opinions are valuable for you. This person can be your best friend or your brother, sister, or parents. You need to be careful about choosing someone who thinks for your benefit. Trying to not take things personally does not mean that you will get it out of your life for good. Even the strongest people can resent someone or something in their lives. If you're touchy, other people's views about you rarely make you feel pretty good. For example, consider someone who hosts guests at home and is known to be extremely sensitive. If someone mentions another person who hosted them poorly, our character here may become offended by this comment and take it personally. Because such incidents can always be found in that person's life, we can see the social damage of living as a sensitive person. When we look at the topics mentioned in this video, we can say that touchiness is actually closely related to personal development. This process, which begins with getting to know oneself, continues with factors such as skills of easy communication and character analysis. So, not to get offended, you must first get to know yourself and then people in your close circle. Do you take things personally? Do you get offended easily? Please comment. Thanks for watching Social Town. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe and bell buttons and share it with your friends. This will encourage us to create new videos for you.